Croeso on all to Fearless in Devotion, the Wrexham AFC podcast, sponsored by the Fat Ball Bar and Restaurant. Apologies if I'm looking the wrong way today because I've got a dual monitor. I've got an Andy Gilpin situation on here. He's got like 4 screens. So I'm it's a bit new to me, but I'm enjoying it. But what a week, by the way. Hell of a couple of results for the town, including congratulations first and foremost to Tim, because you were the only one to predict a Notts County victory, Wrexham victory over Notts County, and 2-1 you said, so just a 1 goal out, and it was a hell of a result.
Yeah, ye have little faith. It was always going to come. It was always going to come. And yeah, I mean, yeah, yesterday was as majestic and as glorious as it gets as an away day. Everything about it was superb. The noise, the game plan, Parky being brave with his selection. Obviously, there's a bit of disruption, which we'll discuss briefly in a moment. But it was just brilliant. All of it was brilliant. It was up there with the best in a long time. I think just in terms of overall assured displays, calm, composed, didn't panic. They didn't exactly throw the kitchen sink at us, Notts. I was a little bit disappointed by it. They had a couple of half chances, but when you look at it, Slocum made 4 or 5 really good saves. It could have been a lot more for us, and it was just a really, really accomplished professional display. It doesn't get much better than yesterday, really.
Andy, you were saying just before we started recording, one of your favourite away days. Big claim. Oh, and he's gone. Great timing. Well, let's wait until Andy. I'm sure Andy's going to rejoin us. The thing is, when you've got a home office setup like he has, things can go wrong because there's just so much demand on the system. However, he's back, Mr. Gilpin. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can, but you're definitely not on your mic. So figure that out. And while you do that.
Absolutely.
On mute, please, mate.
Always a
How about this?
There we go. Beautiful. Andy, You were saying before we started recording that this was one of your favourite away days. Tell us where this rates.
It's in the top 10. Top 10.
Well, okay, that's not as good as I was hoping.
Oh, I mean, I didn't say where in the top 10.
Okay, fine.
I don't know. I would say about 6th or 7th best away day I've ever had. Loved it.
He's gone top 10 to just 6 or 7.
Do you have a ranked on a wall? How are you so easily able to say 6 and 7? What are your top 5?
Well, Brentford away in the cup was my favourite ever away day. Absolutely,
I was
loved
good.
that.
I was there for that.
Luton beating Luton 4-3. That's up there as well. FA Trophy final win. They're the top 3. They're sort of bubbling around there. Sort of
fair.
bubbling under the surface there. It was brilliant. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Got to Nottingham early. Had a few beers. Great. It's a good old fashioned ground. You looked at the team. Right. Basically, let's get into it. That team should not exist. All right. That team shouldn't be alive because basically, look at it. Right. That keeper shouldn't be playing. We should have sorted out the keeper situation in the summer, and it probably wouldn't have been Big Arthur coming in at that point. So great that we've got him, but probably shouldn't have been our keeper. We're playing a defensive mid at the right-hand side of our defence. We're playing in the centre a guy who wasn't even playing at the start, but had to be brought in because our best defender got injured. Then we're playing another defensive midfielder at the left-hand side of our defence. We've got a left full-back at right wing-back. We've got a left midfielder at left wing back. We've got, if you go into midfield, you've got, you've got James Jones in there.
Are you saying Parky's a genius? Is that what you're trying to say?
I just want to go through this whole thing and to say that we got a 2-0 win away at a very fancied and very good Notts County side is absolutely nuts. There's no way we should have won that game. But even the gambles he took with bringing Dolby in from the start, it paid off. Dolby was great.
How did we play more generally for people who've only sort of caught the highlights or are following it remotely? What was the playing sort of style like? How did we get on?
Tim, you want to take this one?
It was just generally more controlled. I mean, Wrexham tend to play a lot better when it's on the deck. And that was always going to suit us yesterday, because that's the sort of game Notts tend to play. Yes, they had the lion's share possession. Yes, they had twice as many passes, but Wrexham just defended as a proper unit. It was another solid defence, and I think any sort of woes we had about the leaky ship of recent months is kind of, I'd like to think that's now done and dusted. But I think in terms of general pattern of play, I thought we were more fluid than we've been in recent weeks, for sure. We tried to play it better, tried to get Mendy on the ball as much as we could. I thought McLean was excellent yesterday. Lee, along with Jude Bellingham, is the top scoring midfielder in Europe with 10 goals. That is some stat.
Don't mind.
And I just thought we looked really well. I thought it was up there with, as a benchmark and statement win. It's well deserved, and all the plaudits that come with it. And Notts fans are clutching at straws if they're going to go down the, oh well, whoever set Palmer up for the second goal, i.e. Mullin, should have been on the pitch. But my personal thing is, when I saw it there and then, I thought Jones had given him a little cheeky stamp. The camera doesn't show that, but so he retaliated, and yeah, sensible refereeing at the end of the day, I think.
Fair enough. Andy, sorry. Tim mentioned there about the leaky defence, sort of that being put to bed. They were late. There was a late disruption as well. You mentioned earlier, Tunnicliffe withdrawing in the warm-up with Tozer coming in. He answered some of his critics, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a great game. I wonder if it needed a bit of time for this keeper to bed in, especially because he's a young lad. He needs to work out what he can do and can't do with this defence and this formation. And I think he's getting there now, because I thought he was excellent on Saturday. By far the best he's played for us. Looked commanding, came out and grabbed it when he needed to. Oh yeah, he wasn't being bombarded like he was at Bradford, because Notts won't do that. But everything he did comfortably. I mean, on top of that, Mendy is growing into that role, even though it's the wrong side for him. I mean, we thought he was going to go off after 5 minutes because he took a bad clout, but he got himself back up and had probably one of his best games for us this season. He was excellent.
And just briefly, Tim, Andy mentioned Okonkwo. He's really building into it now, isn't he, the season?
Yeah. I thought Andy got Ben Tozer mixed up with Okonkwo then in that diatribe, or did I just hear that wrong?
Did I?
I don't know. It sounded like you did, but never mind. I thought you were on about the keeper then and not Tozer. I thought he asked you about Tozer, but never mind.
No, he did, and I did mention Tozer, but I said it all stems from the keeper and the keeper getting more used to.
I don't get me wrong. I like Arthur. I don't think he's this answer to all our prayers that everybody's claiming he is, like the new messiah. He's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's the best young goalkeeper we've had since Chris Maxwell. Has he got a mistake in him? Of course he has. He's a goalkeeper, But yesterday was as assured as he has been next to the Mansfield away game, where he showed what he could do there. We had a bit of a couple of little wobbles during that Salford game. But yeah, he was just very, very composed, very agile. You're not going to beat him in the A. 6'6", for God's sake. And what was good to see yesterday was him tearing a strip off his defence when they made a sloppy mistake and he had to turn it around the post, and he was livid. It was good to see that, because it's hard for somebody of that age to gain respect from his older sort of peers on the pitch, but having the balls and the bravery to speak out and go, look, I don't care if you're towards the end of your career, I'm going to tell you how it is, and you need to do better. So it was good. It was good to see that from him. And let's make sure there's no recall option by Arsenal or anything like that in January. I hope not.
Let's hope not. Andy, some concerns. You mentioned that Mendy playing on the right, which he's going into, but we did hear that Barnett's going to be out for 8 weeks. Owen O'Connell as well, similar time frame. It's a bit of a blow, isn't it?
Yeah, O'Connell was just starting to stake a claim in the centre. I think Parky likes a ball-playing centre half in the middle, and I think he was long-term. He might be thinking of replacing Tozer with O'Connell as a starter. I think obviously it's great to have someone like Tozer who can come in, because he's the captain. He leads by example. He had a great game against Notts. He's been a bit shaky before that, but he's been out the firing line. He's come back in and he's done well. Barnett is more of a concern because Ford's injury record hasn't been great for the last sort of few months. You would think he's going to have to come in and play more often than not now. I think certainly for Gillingham, you're going to have Mendy back on the left because McLean's out. So I would look at it Mendy and Ford down the wings there, and I wouldn't be against that going forward. I think I really rated Mendy's performance yesterday. I thought he was fantastic going up and down. He really was that good.
Glad to hear. And good that we've got squad depth, it seems, doesn't it? You mentioned O'Connell being out of the Gillingham game because we've got 2 cup games next. Mullin is also out of the Gillingham game, isn't he? Suspended.
Yeah. It doesn't count for the FA Cup game, so Mullin and McLean out. But like Andy said before, Dolby put in a really good shift. He was unlucky with that little chipped finish that Slocum had to tip over the bar yesterday. I thought he's had a slow start to the season, but he's starting to show what he really can do now. And again, he's answered some of the critics that are saying, "Oh, he's not as good as we thought he were, and his fans level, blah blah blah." But he looked really, really good yesterday. So delighted for him. And yeah, just a word about the Wrexham fans yesterday. That atmosphere yesterday was absolutely unbelievable. So kudos to Manny, the drummer, and the rest of the lads for keeping that going because it was non-stop. It was brilliant. Like everything about yesterday was brilliant. The
best atmosphere ever?
No, not the best atmosphere ever, but it was great.
Best atmosphere.
What? No, not 7th, not 6th, nothing. No, I'm not falling into your trap of marking it. But yeah, the repertoire of songs was brilliant. There's a couple of new ones in there which were great. Yeah. So everybody
good atmosphere from the Notts fans as well.
No atmosphere from the Notts fans, and I'm not saying that out. I'm not saying that out of spite or to get one over, but genuinely, and I said on for all of the mouth that they are on Twitter, they're very, very, very placid fans, and maybe they haven't got that mobilisation of a 12th man like we have, where they need to make that noise. But it's a big old cavernous ground, and they did not utilise it to their advantage.
One guy really got into it. He did. He really lost his mind over a national anthem. And when we were singing that, he sort of ran and tried to offer us all out, didn't he?
It was hilarious. Yeah, but never mind. Maybe he just took great offence to it, and maybe because he couldn't get a rise out of James McLean. The next thing was now the spout in the Welsh national anthem. I'll have a go at that. So yeah, unlucky.
You never know what's going on at home, do you? So we'll see.
True.
Reece, talking about what's going on at home, what are you lifting behind there?
Mate, unbelievable amounts. Tonnage. Yeah, 200 kilograms on each side of that bar. Right. One arm over the bonds.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Well done. Thank you very much. Right, should we move on to Wrexham women? Another victory, another milestone for Rosie Hughes. 100 goals now for Wrexham, and she's after Wrexham beat the New Saints 3-1 on Sunday. Just seem to be flying, don't they?
100th goal in 46 games. That's crazy. I don't care what you think, whether you're a new fan of women's football, an old fan, somebody who doesn't take it that seriously, to somebody who does take it that seriously. You can't shirk the fact that 100 goals in 46 games is obscene. And I don't know at what stage that she needs to be looked at from a sort of Wales squad point of view. I don't know where their parameters are. Do they have to be playing outside the Welsh system? I don't know how many Welsh players they've got within the Adran Premier in that side, but surely needs to be looked at. And it's great to see her take some more prominence in the documentary recently. But yeah, that's an insane amount of goals, and Cara Jones got a brace, and they're just flying, aren't they? It's great to see them doing so well. It'll be interesting to see where they finish up this season, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw it's only the first win at home this season. So good to get that under the belt. And hopefully they can push on from strength to strength. But I was going to say, 100 goals in 46 games is really impressive at any level, even like proper village level. That's unbelievable. To be doing it at like the top level in the country, that's class. Absolutely unreal.
It's just consistency, isn't it? It's props in the box, consistency. And she will probably say, it's not just about me, it's about the team as well. And having that sort of consistent core group of players there that have helped push the women's main team on to dizzying heights in the first season back in the Adnan Premier. So brilliant, and long may it continue. But yeah, what a player. What a player.
They were in obviously another episode on the doc this week. What did we think of the doc episodes? Just overall. Reese, have you seen them yet?
I think I'm one behind, so I haven't seen this week's yet. I've been enjoying them. I know, obviously, we discussed sort of some, maybe not concern, but some sort of thoughts that we weren't so keen on some episodes. But then I've been looking for feedback from friends and family who are sort of outside of the Wrexham bubble, who love those episodes, absolutely love them all. And so, I think I've been enjoying them. I really enjoyed. I don't know if did we discuss the FA Cup episodes? Yeah, we did the other week. Those episodes were absolutely stupendous. I think there's sometimes a little bit of inconsistency in terms of the sort of the tone is it's quite eccentric as a program, isn't it? Like, you just don't know what you're getting week by week. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but all or nothing or something like that. You know what it's going to be,
and it's quite dull as well, to be fair.
Yeah, and it can get a bit repetitive. They've never done that with Welcome to Wrexham.
No,
you don't know. You don't know how long they are, when they're going to be,
when they're going to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they're going to put clubs on that map. Who knows? Can be
what the subtitles are going to say. No, they're eccentric, but no, I have really enjoyed them, and I think the feedback seems to be that others are too. But it's time now to introduce our special guest for this week. It's an FA Cup related guest, just joining us now from the waiting room. And Tim, I'm hoping that you could introduce our guest.
I will introduce him now as he's joined, and we'll see where we go with this, because we don't pre-record stuff and then insert it after. We're all very gung-ho on this, so let's go for it. So the main man who's here. So back in the late 90s, the only good thing from Crew was this 1250 via Wrexham General. But that changed when Brian Flynn took a chance on a diminutive winger who went on to become our very own live-action Rockin' Robin. Never afraid to get stuck in, despite his size, he played 80 times in a 4-year spell where we more than held our own in what would now be League One. He only scored a few goals, but one helped us to one of our greatest ever FA Cup victories. Wrexham have always loved Robins, so please welcome to the pod, Robin Gibson. Robin, lovely to have you. Oh, I did not connect to audio.
That was so good. I was watching that the whole time, and I was like, he's just connected. There it is.
Hi, you can hear me now, guys?
Yeah.
Did you hear Tim's amazing intro then of you?
Caught the last bit, I think.
You'll have to listen back to listen to it in all its glory.
It was gushing.
Robin, just before we start, is it possible to just turn your phone on its side?
I'm not that small, am I?
No, it just frames a lot better. That's all, mate. Thanks for that.
All right, bud. I am standing up, like.
Robin, great to have you. Thanks for joining us. Before we dive into, obviously, the FA Cup stuff, because obviously Wrexham are at Mansfield Town in the FA Cup next week. And obviously there's a large part of your time at Wrexham that revolve around that. Let's just take it back to the very beginning. 1998, you came to the club, Flinny. Just run us through that, how that came about, where you were, how the move transpired, what your thoughts on it were.
To be honest, I was at Crew Alex at the time, and to be honest, Crew didn't fit. Well, I thought I fitted, but Dario and everybody else didn't think my style fitted for Crew. Basically, they were all nice and pretty, pass, and I was more, as Joe used to say, a little Tasmanian devil. I used to love the tackle, I used to love the aggression, and I was just quite quick, to be fair. And so we got released from there, and I actually went on trial for Rochdale, and I played my first game for them against Wrexham at this little athletic stadium somewhere. And I was playing for Rochdale, like I say, against Wrexham. And after the game, Rochdale offered me a YTS, and I was like, all right, fantastic. I'll go sign for Rochdale. Next minute, I get a phone call. A gentleman called Cliff Sear from Wrexham rings my mum. She was talking to him. The next thing, he puts on the phone to me. And he basically said, we would like to offer you a trial day. Come down on trial with us. And I told him that Rochdale have offered me this white chest thing. And he says, oh, don't sign for them. Don't sign for them. Come and see us first. So I went down and seen Cliff, had a little training session on a Thursday, and he told me what a package was and all this lot for Wrexham. And basically it came down to that Rochdale were offering Mitre boots and Wrexham were offering Adidas boots. And I wore Copa Mondials. So it was like, Mum, I'm getting a free pair of Copa Mondials here, the £100, so I'll sign for Wrexham kind of thing. And that was the thing that was a deal breaker, you know what I mean? And Cliff was a fantastic man, gifted a gab, and he told me everything what I wanted to hear. And he said how much I would fit into the club, how it is structured. So I went there, got me free pair of boots, free pair of trainers, little tracksuit and things, and it was all good fun then.
How did he sell? How did he sell it to you? Because I mean, what age were you at that time? I'm trying to think what age you were.
17, 16, 17 I was. And then basically he just said, "Oh, Wrexham's up and coming. We've got a new training ground at Gressford. It's all going to be around the young players coming through. We want to build all the young players through. They didn't have the money to buy, so that's why they were putting a lot of effort in nurturing young talent. And because I was so pacey and aggressive, Joey took to me straight away. He took me under his wing, and taught me all the dark arts, let's say. Of
elaborate on those dark arts, because you're not getting away with that.
How to foul without giving fouls away. How to disrupt people in games, i.e. stamping on the toes, pulling of the hair, pulling the hairs under the armpits. Yeah, like there was once we played F&.
Pulling the hairs under the armpits.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I've never thought of that. That is genius.
Yeah, well, don't forget, I was small, so I was fine. I could lift my arm up, and I'm just there. You know what I mean? So there was a lad called F&. who played for Macclesfield, and I shouldn't have really done it, to be fair. He was marking Big Bry Carey, and to be fair, he had Bry Carey in his pocket at the time, and Joey was like, "Gibbo, do something, Gibbo, just disrupt him, stand in the middle of him." And me being stupid, young and innocent, I just pulled off his bandana, and he wore a bandana. So I pulled off his bandana. Big Bry won the header. F&. was chasing me around the 6-yard box, wanting to kill me. But Big Bry won the header, so I did my job, didn't I? Joey loved it, and I nearly got battered. So yeah.
Robin, did you come in as a youth player then? I mean, how long did it take you to get into the first team? And I know, what was the dressing room like when you came in? Was Ian Rush there at that time?
Ian Rush came about 2 years after I got in the first. I got in the first team just before my 18th birthday. I played Hull away. That was my first debut. Which, to be honest, it was a massive, massive shock. I always used to train with the first team, like 11v11 and stuff like that in set pieces and stuff, just because I was quick and they liked to put like a Phil Hardy under pressure and Mark McGregor under pressure with a bit of like a tricky winger. And anyway, this time before the game at the weekend against Hull, I trained on the Monday with the first team, trained on a Tuesday with the first team in like the set pieces and formation and things. And Martin Chalk and Craig Skinner were the wingers at the time. Brilliant. And Flinney just said, "Gibbo, just take Chalky's place while he's gone inside." So I went in, and basically me and Mark McGregor just had a great partnership. He was giving me the ball, I was whipping it in, and it was brilliant. And I think from that little half an hour I had in with Macca and stuff like that, I think it swayed him. But he didn't say nothing to me at all. He just said, "Gibbo, you're involved in the squad at weekend." I turned up, jumped on the coach, did my stuff, like put all the kit out for the first team, all the drinks, all the bottles of water and everything else. And then Joey goes, "Gibbo, what are you doing?" I went, "What do you mean, Joe?" He says, "You're starting today, pal. You shouldn't be doing that. Give it somebody else." I'm like, "You are?" Like, I basically crap myself. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, it's my first time. It's Tuesday night, and you know what I mean. I was a bit nervous, but Joey said, "You've earned your spot. Grab it by the scruff of the neck and get out there," kind of thing. And yeah, I did. And like I say, I ran out for the warm up. My mum and dad were in the stand, and I ran out and go, "Hey, Mum, I'm starting," like this, and they were like going off their heads. And yeah, we came out. The whistle went. All their fans were shouting, "Have you got school in the morning?" And it's too late for you. Does your mum and dad, you're up this late and stuff like this. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And not knowing and having the nerves of not knowing I was starting, you know what I mean, all through the week. And I think that's how Wrexham are brilliant, because they nurtured us. They didn't give us that pressure. They just dealt with us really well. And like, I was a young lad, and to drop me in the deep end like he did, it helped me massively, because I would have been really nervous all the way up to the game, you know what I mean? And I was just so happy and everything else. It was my debut and everything. And Joey just said to me, he said, "Gibbo, mate, just get the ball, knock it and run. You'll beat anybody." And I did it, and I got the ball, knocked it, ran past this lad, and I looked behind me, and he was nowhere bloody near me. And I've got the beating of him. So that's all I did every time. And it worked well. I set Neil Roberts up for the first goal, and I think we won 2-1, I think it was. But yeah, that was me debut. And then, to be honest, I never looked back then. It was like I was always in the first team and in around the first team then. But yeah, that's how I found out I was playing my first game until the day, on the day, and about 2 hours before kickoff.
Class. You've already mentioned Joey quite a few times. You know, how big of an impact did he have on you, nurturing you through? Massive.
He was. Everyone says a father figure and all that. Like, he wasn't a father figure at all. He was just a mega mentor. He mentored me how to play football and the rules, how to enjoy, how to get through hard times. And mentally, he was so strong. It was ridiculous. And like, I was never the skillfulest of players at all. He just said to me, "You've got heart of a lion. You're aggressive and everything. That you can't teach that." He says, "You can't give people desire. You can't give people aggression. You've got it in your heart that you want to play football." He said, he turned it around to, "You've got a small man syndrome. You know what I mean? You always want to beat the big guy. You always want to hit the big guy." And that's always what I wanted to do. And I remember Denis Lawrence. He was about 6'6", centre half. First time he came into the team, Joey says, welcome him into training, Gibbo lad." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, he went, "Welcome him into training," meaning give him one. Like, anyway, the ball's gone up in the air in training. I've basically climbed up Dennis's back and headbutted the ball and forearmed in the back of the head, smashed him on the floor. Flinny has gone off his absolute rocker. "What the effing hell's going on here? How's that midget beating you, Dennis? Get up!" Like this, going off his rocker. Joey's like, "Yeah, Gibbo lad, one." Anyway, Joey's had a little word with bloody Dennis. This ball's gone up in the air again. I'm thinking, "Oh, I'll crack him again here." I've gone to go up. Dennis has just gone whack, forearm, straight in my chin. I've gone flying. Joey's gone, "Yeah, Dennis, good lad." You know what I mean? It wasn't just me. He was telling every bugger to do exactly the same. You know what I mean? And he was never like, he never hid his feelings. He told you everything. And me and Dennis got on like a house on fire. And you know what I mean? But that's how he was. He was for everybody, and he had everybody's back. You know what I mean? And that was the nice thing. You could always go to him with any issues, any problems. But yeah, I had the utmost respect for Joe, mate. Utmost. Still do.
Did Joey tend to drill you a certain way when you were in the tunnel waiting to go out on the pitch? One of my work colleagues who saw you recently said you've got a good tale to tell us about this, about the whole don't look at them thing. Just take us through that.
I won't swear, but
you can. It's all inclusive.
Right. Well, Joey in the dressing room used to get you that riled up. You would go to war. You're going in the trenches. You know what I mean? You're fired up. Your heart's pounding, and you're getting that tunnel and standing behind you. He's like, "Come on, lads, we've got it. And they line up next to you, and he's like, "Don't fucking look at them. Don't fucking look at them." And we're like looking straight ahead, and all these like other players are looking at us, and we're like looking straight at freaking head. Didn't dare look at them like that. And like, you were like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm going to war. You know what I mean? It was like you just heard his like a banshee voice behind you, just going at it, and it and down the tunnel at the racecourse as well. It was really compact. You know what I mean? And it echoed all the way through. You could hear it in the ticket styles at the front. Like we had a lady called Maggie, and she used to hear it all the time. And but being a young boy and having Joey standing behind you shouting that, it just sent chills up your spine. Like, yes, I'm going to do it for Joe. I'm going to do it for him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let anyone down, and especially Joe. You know what I mean? Because if you did let him down, he'll let you freaking know about it. You know what I mean? He would grip you by your freaking collar and rag you around a bit and tell you. But none of us ever wanted to let Joey down ever. He was a massive. Like I say, I can't speak any highly of Joe at all.
The Joey Jones war cry in all its glory.
It was the war cry. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, obviously Wrexham are back in FA Cup action. Don't need to do any qualifying rounds for the first time in 15 seasons this year. So straight into the first round against Mansfield Town, away at Field Mill. Obviously, we had a decent cup run last year, beat Coventry, lost out to current Premier League frauds, Sheffield United, after a replay. We've had a lot of memorable cup runs down the years, notably Arsenal, away at West Ham. Some matches, personally, feel a little bit underappreciated. Maybe it's because it wasn't quite a sexy name as Arsenal and West Ham. So December the 11th, 1999, Middlesbrough in the top flight. They rock up with the Kairos. Their side is packed with well-known players: Christian Ziege, Janino, Paul Gascoigne, Robbie Mustoe to a certain extent.
Gary Schwarzer, Hamilton. Stamp.
Obviously, that side itself was like, we probably haven't given much of a chance here. But before you take us through it, because you did play a starring role, I'm going to play you about that goal, complete with completely unbiased commentary. So have a listen.
They need to raise it as well. That's not a bad looking ball. Gibson now then a chance. Gibson has scored. Robin Gibson has equalised for Wrexham. A fantastic finish. His first touch was excellent. He took it beyond
Gary Pallister.
the Middlesbrough defence, and his finish was emphatic.
There you go, emphatic first time finish. That was your equaliser. But before we get to that, take us about the sort of feeling around that game, because I imagine Joey had another input. But what was the kind of directive? Because we'd beaten, I think it was Kettering and Rochdale in the first two rounds. We get to that game, and when we draw, then what's your overriding thought at that time when we get that draw?
Just hope I'm playing. I want to play. Gazza was my idol. He's my idol. Whoever he played for, I just supported Gazza. He was my football idol. Him and Alan Shearer, basically. Both my football heroes, and I've had the privilege to meet both and play against one of them. So I've done my dream, you know what I mean, against them. But knowing that he's in the team and that I could play, I could get on, you know what I mean. It was really nervous, but really like something that I really wanted to get involved in. But yeah, and then obviously we found out in the starting lineup and things like that. When I found out I was starting. I was just overwhelmed, really. You know what I mean? It was just a privilege to play. I just wanted to do my best and do good for myself, really, and for the club.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you got the equaliser, which we've just heard. So anybody who needs to go and watch that, root out Middlesbrough Wrexham, you'll find it. It's a cracking goal. Just take us through that goal, because that's an instinctive finish. That.
Yeah, Daz Ferguson got the ball on the halfway line. I think he took it inside. I've made a run across the back four. He's delivered a delicious pass, like he always used to do that anyway. He used to come inside. He could find a pass brilliantly. Daz was. He was good at that. He chipped it in, and I just took it. I took it on my left side and half volleyed it. And to be fair, I'm not the best left-footed player you'll ever see. It was a lovely strike and a lovely swing. You know what I mean? It was. It curled away from Schwartz into the bottom corner. And the funny thing was, when I did it, if you notice from the video, I've run off that way because my mum was meant to be in the new stand, but she was sat in the old stand. So I ran that way and I thought, no, she's that way. So I ran freaking that way to my mum to like bloody wave and all that. Like, but I didn't get that far because everyone just mobbed me. But yeah, it was, like I say, the stars who were there, Ziege and Pallister and everybody else. And it was just like, just a phenomenal feeling. Like they scored the first red card. And we fought hard done by, you know what I mean? We thought we were in the game and we had chances and we knew we would score. And it was like a replay back at Middlesbrough, you know what I mean? Oh my God, that'd be amazing. But we wanted to get it done, you know what I mean? In front of our fans, in our home, you know what I mean? Our ground. And luckily I got the equaliser, and it was, like I say, it's a dream come true, you know what I mean? Scoring the FA Cup, and then I'm running past bloody Gary Pallister, I'm running them past bloody Paul Gascoigne. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Little old me, you know what I mean? It was just madness, absolute madness.
Darren Ferguson.
Sorry,
Darren
Tim,
Ferguson. Go on.
I'm just looking at the team now. Schwarzer, Pallister, Gascoigne, Brian Dean, Ziege, Juninho as well. I mean, that is one hell of a team. What was Gazza like on the pitch? Do you remember much about him?
Well, I'll tell you a little story before the pitch. I went to get a little Lucozade drink off Mel Pedgett, the physio, from the physio's room just before the game. I've run down the tunnel, and we had a little boot room opposite there, changing room. And I've gone past, and Gazza's in the boot room with a little toddy and a fag, right? And I've gone past, and I'm like, not like you double check. I went, like, Gazza? And he went, right? Like this, next it. And I've gone in the thing, I've come back, and I've obviously gone past again. I went, like this, and he's gone, aye, like this. And then I've gone past, and then next minute, Robbo at the changing room, obviously at the changing room, I said, get the fuck in here. And he's like, you can see him put his fag out, go in. I'm like, my God. You know what I mean? It's freaking mental, absolute mental.
What was your pre-game drink of choice? Cup of tea?
Cup of tea, yeah. Cup of tea, 2 sugars. Cup of tea, 2 sugars, yeah, definitely. Big pot of tea, lad. There was always a massive pot of tea in the changing room. We always used to have a cup of tea, a couple of sugars, yeah.
Whose shirt did you swap with?
Well, I nicked quite a few, to be honest. Well, I got Pallister's, got Ziege's, and I got Gazza's, so I'm loving it. I wanted Juninho.
I like the way you're whispering, like nobody's gonna know apart from the person here.
Well, they were on the benches. Yeah, they were on the benches in the changing room, and obviously the lads went out, and obviously I've just rifled them. So when they got back, they were gone. Simple as.
Superb.
A whiskey-stained, sort of nicotine-smelling Paul Gascoigne shirt.
Well, what else do you want, mate? I mean, it's on my wall. Well, no, it's not on my wall. It's in my actual loft in a frame. So yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
what a win, and yeah, one of the best. I think, you know, super underappreciated on occasions in the dawns of time, but one of the great days. FA Cup.
It was the same one as like I scored the equaliser, and then obviously Daz came and he come inside and he scored his lovely goal to score the winner, and then it was just all hell. We were holding on, and it was like in my head, it sounds really selfish. I just wish somebody else scored other than Daz, because it's a Ferguson. Alex Ferguson was there on the day, and basically, if you ever read up on anything, my read up is this big, and Daz Ferguson's is like a full page article with his dad and everything else. Ferguson's still in the FA Cup. Guild got a hand in, and then you get little old Robin, who was always this big. I was like, if anybody else scored, I might have got a little bit more. You know what I mean? Than 3-4 lines. But in my head, I don't really care, because I've got the memories, I've got the shirts, and I've got the you know what I mean? I did it. You know what I mean?
And you've got the Fearless in Devotion exclusive interview. Ferguson, he was second on our list, so don't worry.
Yeah, he's still in the waiting room. We're not going to let him in.
No, sack him off.
Before I hand it back over to Andy to ask the next question, I'll put it out because I know Robin will know the answer to this. I've just had to have a look. For that reward of beating Middlesbrough, Who did we get in the fourth round? Andy Reese. Can you remember who it was without looking?
Cambridge.
He looked.
Was it? Oh, I forgot, mate. To be fair, good job you didn't ask me. I forgot. Yeah.
What underwhelming draw!
I didn't start either. I don't think I started in that game either.
8th of January.
Don't think I started.
No, you weren't in the squad. Were you injured?
No, I might have been injured, to be honest. Yeah, or I might have had a fight with Dave Brammer. I don't know.
Dean Spink's in there.
Yeah.
Dave Brammer, what a lad!
We never talk about Brammer on this, do we? What was he like, Robin? Because he was a really good player, but I've heard he can be a bit of an arsehole.
Cock, absolute cock.
Well, don't hold back.
Absolute fantastic player. Pinging the ball, like Paul Scholes, you know what I mean? Pinging the ball, brilliant, fantastic. But moody, always has to be right. Has to be his way, or he spits his dummy out massively. Him and Phil Hardy had that many arguments and fights in training. It was ridiculous. I remember one time Joey chucking him upstairs with a pair of boxing gloves, you know what I mean? Shutting the door on him, off you go, lads, have it out. You know what I mean? And they come out frigging, bit of a cut lip and whatever, and then they go back to training, you know what I mean? And then, or it'll just be full on 2-footed tackles in training. Brammer would be rolling around on the floor. Joe would be like, get the fuck up. And Phil's like, come on. Yeah, it was, everyone loved him on the football pitch, but everyone hated him off it. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't go for a drink with him. Let's leave it at that. You know what I mean? And but yeah, and he's an agent now. He's a football agent, so he's got to be friends with people. And I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? He's got to be friendly.
So if you fancy getting back in the game, you wouldn't have Dave Brammer as your agent. Just a triple check on that one.
No. It might get me a new move and all that lot, but nah, I couldn't stand having a drink with him.
Who won the fights anyway? It was because you'll never beat Phil Hardy, as the song goes. So
there you go.
So that was the one. Slightly Irish temperament on Phil. Yeah.
He was. To be fair, if you went into a tackle with Phil once, you knew about it, but the second time you didn't go in for the third time because you didn't dare. It just went higher and higher and higher till he got to your throat. And that's what his studs. Yeah. But yeah, we used to have like a YTS v first year pros v YTSs, then we had first year pros v second years, and then second years v first team in like 5-a-sides and stuff. We used to either do England v Wales or Scousers v England, you know what I mean? Scousers v bloody Cheshire and stuff like that. And I always used to want to be on Phil's side, no matter what. I'm on Phil's side because he was a dirty man. Dirty man.
Dirty man.
Yeah, dirty.
So he was in the midfield with Ferguson. What was Darren like? And you know, did they sort of clash at all? I mean, you can imagine Fergie not really standing for any of that.
No, to be fair, because Daz was a star. You know what I mean? His dad was a star, and he was quite famous and all this, blah, this, that, the other. Brammer didn't push it with him. You know what I mean? So Brams knew his battles, let's say. You know what I mean? So all the youngsters, he used to pick fights with all the youngsters because they always used to back down. I never backed down. I just smashed him even harder. It didn't bother me. But like we had Stephen Thomas, and Brams always had a little tussle with Ozzy because Ozzy was like in the midfield with him. You know what I mean? So he didn't like that competition where I was a winger, so I didn't really bother him. So he didn't have to argue with me. He just complained that I never got onto his passes. And I was like, well, fucking hell, like, it's 50 yards in front of me. I'm not that freaking fast. But no, he was just an awkward character. He was just moody. If he was one of the Mr. Men, he is moody. You know what I mean? He was Mr. Moody. We used to call him Meatball Head or 8-ball. But yeah, he was an odd character. Odd. Fantastic footballer though, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. But odd.
Yeah. Well, he had a good career. I mean, went on to Stoke and did really well.
Yeah.
Look, before we sort of move through the seasons, can we just talk about my favourite Wrexham player ever? Carl Connolly. Absolutely. I loved Carl Connolly. Yeah. Such an unassuming bloke as well. I met him after the the FA Trophy win in a Wetherspoons in Wembley, and he was sort of amazed I knew who he was and wanted to buy him a drink. And I thought, well, bloody hell, you're Cal Conley. You know, absolutely brilliant footballer. What was he like sort of behind the scenes?
Legend. So helpful, really helpful. Always had a good word, helping word for new players, young players. It was just a privilege to play with. You know what I mean? Like every ball you gave him, it would stick. You know what I mean? He was a frail man. He was skinny, but Jesus Christ, he could put his body in front of players and he would work the foul. He would roll them. His touch was amazing. He could finish from anywhere, both feet, and he was decent in the air. You know what I mean? He was decent in the air for the size of him. But a man, as a person, he was really, really helpful. Really good man. Like I say, he had time for all the youngsters, time for the young lads coming through. And even after training and things like that, he always used to stay behind with me to help me practice my crossing and things. He used to say where he would like it, what movement it is, and where he would want the ball delivered into, things like that. So not just selfish for him telling me where he wanted the ball, but that was used to be helpful for me because I could get the crosses in and I knew where he would be. So, but always helpful. We have this Wrexham Legends team, and he's a part of that, and he's stopped playing now because of his knees and stuff. But we do this Wrexham Legend things. We go around places and raise a bit of money for local teams and charities and things. We did one today at Flint for little Emily for, I think it was Nicky John for Bangor Hospital and Alder Hay for cancer research. We did that today, so that was decent. But Carl was, phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant player, to be fair.
Just sort of looking at the seasons. I mean, I think when Carl left, there seemed to be a little bit of a decline in the team, really. I mean, I don't really know what was going on behind the scenes, but I know Price Griffiths was wanting to stop, really. And it seemed like that little sort of access of like Flinney, Price, who worked quite well together, you know, Joey in the background. It seemed that was crumbling a little bit. Could you sort of see in the last sort of seasons of Flinney it coming apart a little bit? Because I can remember once, Tranmere away, it was a 5-0, and I thought this is it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's when we tried to get some foreign players in, and I don't think in fact it was Carlos Edwards, Denis, Hector Sam, and there was a lad called Jake Edwards who came in, and then they didn't have the same attitude as the rest of us, and they weren't Flinney's signings. They got brought in, you know what I mean? They got brought in by someone else, and then obviously when Flinney went, Denis Smith was there, and it just wasn't the same feeling. You know what I mean? It wasn't our club anymore. It wasn't our team, where before we would fight for any one of our teammates. You know what I mean? And when all these newcomers started coming in, they didn't have the same desire as us. You know, and I think that went through the team, and then the team was just on the decline, and it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel right anymore. It didn't feel like the lads were doing it for the club; they were just doing it for themselves. You know, it's hard to say, because obviously when Denis came in, I didn't stay long then, because obviously I didn't get along with Denis because he was a dick. At all.
Tell us more. You can't leave that hanging there. What was wrong with Den?
My first ever meeting with Denis was at the training ground in Gresford. I've walked down the stairs from the canteen. His first thing, he walked through the doors. This is his first day at the training ground. I don't know who he is. He didn't know who I was. He's walked through. I walked down the stairs. I said, "Hi, matey, all right?" And he went, "Yeah." And then that was it. I've walked off. He's walked upstairs. He's come back down. And then he just went, "Where are you going, son?" And I went, "We're done. It's training's finished. It's home time kind of thing." And he's like, "Right then, off you fucking pop." I was like, "Right." I still don't know who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? So I've got in my car, drove off. I've got home and I'm thinking, who the fucking hell is this guy? Who is it? I didn't know him at all. I didn't have a clue it was at all. But it was a stranger.
So he'd not been announced or anything,
No,
you know, you hadn't
no, he was announced, but I've never met him.
Yeah.
I've never seen his face. I didn't know who who he was at all.
Yeah.
Didn't know who he was. So he's announced as Denis Smith, blah, blah, blah. He didn't say his name or anything like that. I just walked down the stairs. He's walked in. Are you? And buggered off. I've walked out and he goes, where are you off, son? I went, I'm off. I went, all right. And then that was it. I've gone home, come in the next morning. And basically, from that day, I don't think he liked me from that day. I don't know why. I don't know what. But in training, he goes, right, you're in the reserves and first team over there. And I was like, right, I've just started the last fucking 4 games and now I'm in the reserves. So I'm like, right, whatever. And I've walked off. I had a bit of an attitude, to be fair. I've walked over in the reserves. I stayed in the reserves for maybe 2 weeks, which I'm fuming. I missed the Saturday game, didn't play in that. I missed the Tuesday game, didn't play in that. I've gone in his office. I said, hi, Dennis, I think we need to have a little chat, don't we? I haven't played. Before you came, I was in the first team. And he just turned around and said, well, you lost the last game you were in, so that's why you didn't play the next game. I went, so I lost the team. I lost. Me. You know what I mean? It was my fault. And I was just, I wasn't the one to back down, to be fair. So I had a little banter back at him in his office. And about, was it 2-3 months later, basically told me to fuck off and get gone.
Oh,
you're not for me.
Was your contract up the end of that season?
It was end of that year, yeah. End of that year, it was being up. Yeah, he goes, you can. We're not renewing your contract. I'm going to take Carlos and Michael Blackwood instead of you. And I was like, right, why? He goes, because you don't fit into my plans. And I was like, right, okay. I'll see me ass, and then I said, all right, stuff you.
I suppose, I mean, obviously that's part of football, isn't it? In terms of being let go and that kind of thing. Yeah. Is it just the way it's handled and the way it's done? You just think there's no need to be like that, basically?
No, there's no need to be like that, is there? You know what I mean? Like, what have I done to him? Kind of thing. If he'd gone back on the games prior to the last game I played when he came in, I played well. I think we won 2 and lost 2, basically. And I think I set a couple of goals up as well. And then in the Welsh Cup, I think we won the Welsh Cup that year as well as. And I think the previous year to that, I got Young Player of the Season as well. So it wasn't that I was playing bad or anything like that. I don't know. Do you know, like when you get an opinion of somebody sometimes, when you walk up to them and you get an opinion straight away without even knowing them? I think that's why you got of me. I don't know why. And like I say, I'll talk to anyone and anything like that. I'm quite polite and everything else. But if someone pisses me off, I'll tell them. And I've always been like that. I don't think he liked me telling him that why wasn't I being picked and why wasn't I in the team. I don't think he liked me questioning him, kind of thing. And I think obviously I might have crossed the line by questioning that. But if you don't ask, you don't find the answers, do you? And to be fair, that's what Joey's always said to me. He says, you don't ask. If you're playing badly and you think you've done well, then there's something wrong. So I thought I was playing well. So I didn't know why I was being dropped, you know? So I was asking the question. And we just didn't like me, I think. So it was, like I say, he had other players there. Jesus Christ. Michael Blackwood was decent. Carlos Edwards, freaking hell, decent. You know what I mean? He went on to do fantastic. You know what I mean? But Carlos didn't like fucking hell. Carlos, when he first came, he couldn't tackle a frigging matchstick. Jesus.
I was going to say, he wasn't really pulling up many trees, Carlos, at that time, was he?
No, but they paid money for him. So it was one of them. They paid money for him. He had a 3-year contract, and I was coming up to the end of mine. Right. So what are they going to do? They're going to put me on another 2 year while he's got 3 years? You know, they weren't going to do it. So they weren't going to put the budget for me because I was on decent money. And they weren't going to put me on more decent money again for another couple of years while he's already on a long contract. Yeah. And they've paid money for him as well. So you can see where he's coming from by letting me go. But the way he did it was shy. I would have took a cut in wages. You know what I mean? I would have took a cut because I loved the place. I hated it when I left.
We're kindred spirits because Dennis hated me as well. So,
why did he hate you, Andy? Can you tell us?
Oh, a number of reasons.
Tell us.
Look at your face.
Come on,
he's not holding anything back. He's holding something back here.
There was one particular one, right? Basically, I worked for the Daily Post back then, and Mark Curry was the main journalist, so he used to do it all week. I used to come in on a Thursday, and I used to think, right, I'm going to get a story. And so I remember once I heard that Wrexham was signing a striker, and I was desperately trying to find out who it was. So I phoned like everyone, like club shop, like I don't know, like groundsman, just to try to get the name of the striker. Someone at the club told me, said, "Yeah, there's been a player here today. He's been released by Derby." So I went, "All right, okay." Phoned up the Derby Telegraph. Said, "Right, who have you released today?" He goes, "All right, we released two players today, Marvin Robinson and Fabrizio Ravanelli." I went, "I don't think it's going to be Ravanelli. I'm going to be honest here." So next day I went Wrexham in for Marvin Robinson. Denis phones me up, absolutely raging. He said, "You absolute twat. If you've ruined this deal, I'll rip your head off and just shove it up your own ass." And we never signed Marvin Robinson. So that's
no way. You actually scuppered a transfer target of Denis Smith.
Marvin Robinson was shit anyway. We didn't want him.
Sorry, if you're listening, Marvin, sorry.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Did he actually call you and threaten to shove your head up your ass?
I mean, I might, as time goes on, you sort of think, I can remember, I remember he was raging. I don't know if that's exact words, but that was the sort of gist.
Yeah.
He was pissed off with me.
Yeah. Excellent.
What was I going to say? Sort of coming towards the end. I mean, Carlos comes in, I think it's sort of indicative of what you were saying earlier. It's sort of, they seem to be getting players in so they could sell them on. And it was like maybe more of a money-making thing than it ever had been under Price.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, like, did you sort of think that maybe you weren't going to get a contract as soon as Denis came in anyway?
Yeah. Like I say, when the writing's on the wall, you know what I mean? Carlos was getting in ahead of me when I was playing well. I would play well and he would bring me off. And it was like, you know what I mean? You're not resting me for the next game. You know what I mean? We haven't won this game yet. You know what I mean? It's 0-0 and I'm playing well. What are you bringing me off for? And then he would put Carlos on. Then he would say Carlos in the team talk after, "Carlos, you did really well when you came on. This is Flinny, this is. Carlos, you did really well when you came on." And I'm like, "Well, you're saying I've done fucking bad? Was that why you brought me off?" You know what I mean? I wasn't doing bad. I was doing fine. And then the next game, Carlos would start. And then it was just weird. Like, I always spoke to Joey about it, and Joey just kept saying, "Look, Kibbo, just keep fighting. If you keep working hard, you'll get your chance. Just don't drop your standards." And I never dropped, and I always trained and worked hard. Like I say, I had a few injuries. I did my knee and that. I was out for a few months with my knees and that. But that was because the type of player I was. I never ditched out of any tackles with anyone. Didn't matter who it was. I would always go into a bloody 70-30, you know what I mean, and bloody go in for it, you know what I mean. So I was a bit stupid sometimes like that, but yeah, it was the writing was on the wall. Like, I went after Wrexham, I went to Chesterfield. Went over there and I was nearly going to sign a contract with them for 2 years. Then the manager got sacked, so I didn't go to them. And then I thought, "Oh, fuck this! I'm going to start my own company up." And I did a landscape company up. Started that up, and then I went off and played for Stafford Rangers afterwards, and it was brilliant. Fitted in with my lifestyle, family, and everything else. It was lovely time, to be fair. We got promoted into the conference and things like that. Second year that I was there, so got back into the league, conference and stuff. So it was really good, to be fair.
You mentioned Carlos Edwards. We did a ultimate Wrexham 11, and I think we went 4-4-2, and I got dog's abuse for picking Carlos Edwards at right back. Can you just confirm he could play right back, couldn't he? I know it would have been a bit of might have left us a bit exposed.
I would have loved to play him. I would have loved to play against him if he was right back. I would have snapped him. He was pacey.
I think that's a no, Reese. That's a no.
I would have. He was quick, decent on the ball, skillful, everything. But I would have loved it. Absolutely. Put that ball up in the air, 50-50. He'll be in Rose Head.
There you go.
No problem.
Categorically, Reese, we've put you in your box.
Yeah.
He's not coming back. So there we are. That ghost is now dead and buried. I think. There he looks fuming. Please go and watch this on YouTube if you're listening on your streaming devices. It's worth it just for that face alone in his little weightlifting.
No, I always take comments on board. Constructive criticism. That's a fair comment.
You've got to admit, though, he wasn't the most brave.
Physical. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had him on. He's very relaxed, isn't he? Very
relaxed. No, Carlos is a class lad. He's an absolute fantastic boy. You know what I mean? When he came over, he was so he's have a like Carlos, Hector Sam, that smile of Hector's. You know what I mean? It was just lightened up the room. You know what I mean? It's the same with Carlos. His smile and everything else. It was brilliant. You know what I mean? His character and everything else like that. But as a player, he wasn't the bravest. But Jesus Christ, to get where he got, not being brave, he's got something, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Sunderland with Roy Keane, Jesus Christ, got to the hardest tackler in the frigging league as your manager. You know what I mean? So he must have something, you know? So, but yeah, I would have loved to play him if he was a defender. Loved it.
Going to, obviously you mentioned Stafford and then enjoying your time there. In terms of when you sort of pulled the curtain down on your playing career, what did you get up to after that? Because, I mean, I was told that you became a bit of a handy boxer.
Yeah, no, I love handy. I used to love getting hit. That's a freaking problem. I used to do boxing with Joe and everything, and then Mal Purchase used to be the training partner of Joe's. Used to go to the gym and do sparring all the time. Loved it, absolutely loved it. It's a different type of training. It really gets you going, gets the sweat on. But yeah, I went into boxing as an accident. Really, my wife's brother, he did this, signed up for this white collar boxing event for my mother-in-law who had cancer at the time. So he did it for a cancer research charity, and then he basically just bottled it. And so I said, well, you've raised all this money, you can't fucking bottle it. And he was like, well, I can't. That's right, fuck it, I'll do it. So I had 2 weeks training, jumped into this white collar boxing thing, smashed the lad in the first round. I thought, fuck me, I love this. I'll have a bit more. So I signed up for about another 7 or 8 more. So I did all them, and then I thought, I'll have a go and maybe a little amateur one. So did that, won that one, and then I thought, crikey, I'm 35 here now. I can't do it anymore. I'm buggered. I'll have one more go. So I signed up for one more, and this lad was 22 years old, played rugby, trained every single day, body like bloody Peter Andre in that video, ripped to the nines. And I've been training, I'm working as well. And I was training maybe once or twice a week. He was training every day. And anyway, we've seen each other on the way in and stuff like that. And we're getting changed downstairs. My missus is with me getting changed. This Connor walks out and he's got his top off and he's ripped. I've got my top off, I've got a belly on. And he's come over to me. All the best, mate. I went, yeah, all the best. And he's looked me up and down. And I've looked at my missus, and my missus is looking him up and down. I'm like, fucking hell. But yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, this has got to be it. I can't have any more, like, kind of thing. And then I went in there, and to be honest, he was fit as a butcher's dog. He didn't stop punching. I put him down in the second, went to the fourth, and it was all fine. And I lost on points in the end just because of the amount of frigging punches he was throwing. But strangest thing was, I went to Tesco's the next morning to get some milk and crap. I got up the escalator, and as I got to the top, all these crowd of lads come round the corner, and Connor was at the back. And Connor goes, "Yeah, mate, you all right?" I said, "Yeah, all fine." And all these lads went, "Is that the lad you fought last night?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Fucking hell, you told me you battered him. He's not got a bruise on him." And Connor walked around, he had a big fat lip and a freaking bruise on his eye. And I was like, yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck off. He didn't touch me, kind of thing. He was just hitting me gloves and that. And he's got a big fit lip and a black eye. And I was like, yeah, that'll do for me. But yeah, and I hung it up then. But like I said, the stupid thing is I used to buzz off getting hit. I used to get a funny feeling about getting hit. And yeah, that's Joey again. like the mentality of Joey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joey be very, very
You
proud.
don't stay
listening to
down.
this.
You get back up again. You go again. You go again. You never start. You never stop.
Yeah.
You never die. And that was Joey again. It's in the back of my head always. Dickhead.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're still playing, doing some stuff with Wrexham Legends, as you say, played today. I mean, they were recently asked by the club not to use the club crest.
Oh.
I know you had some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about obviously Wrexham Legends and everything, who are we representing? We're representing Wrexham. We're representing the club that we played for. Some lads, Carl Connor, played for 10 years. You know what I mean? Some of them, load. You know what I mean? Still there in the background and stuff. It's mental that we cannot go out and represent our club, my club, for charity. You know what I mean? It's beyond me, absolute beyond me. And we've asked if we can play on the pitch. We've asked if we can go on like any of their Wrexham forum pages with maybe get a video of one of the games to put it on the YouTubes or whatever. Just put us in a program, a picture of us. You know what I mean? Just put something about the Wrexham Legends and maybe get a bit of fans from the games to come down and watch us to help the charities. What we do it for? We do it for like Gresford Park Juniors so they can get a new shower or get new goalposts. You know what I mean? We're not doing thousands of pounds. You know what I mean? It's something like I think we raised like $3,500 for the second to last one we did, and that was for the club, the team. You know what I mean? The Gresford club or Marford or whoever. It's for their club to build. So us Wrexham Legends are doing something for charity. Why can't the club back us? You know what I mean? Taking the badge away. It's beyond. It's fucking ridiculous.
So were you not able to use it today?
No, we've got our own badge now. We've made our own badge. So we've got it all set up on our website, the Wrexham Legend website. But John Morris, the lad who does it all, PD, he does it all. He's phenomenal, John. Sets it all up for us and got us a new kit and everything else. The Fat Boar sponsor us and everything else. So the Mice go in.
For us too.
Yeah, the Mice go in.
Fantastic establishment, Robin.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, mate. The Fat Boar, mate. It's ridiculous. And then, like I said, the Mice going across the road. You know what I mean? They're brilliant. You know what I mean? We always go in there. Like me and Lugger and Benno were in there the other day in Macca, having a few pints before the crew game. So yeah, it was good. I did a little talk on the crew game upstairs in the Centenary Club. Obviously, I speak my mind no matter what, and obviously we got asked about obviously the Wrexham Legends and what we think about it and what we think about the owners and how the club's going and what they think about the people, the fans who've actually been there for years, who are getting kind of pushed out for all the new fans which are coming. You know what I mean? Like the old fans can't get a ticket if they're not season ticket holders. It's Wrexham's close to my heart, mate. And the thing is, I hate it when the old supporters can't get a ticket. Why can't they get a ticket? It's like I heard about. I think who was it who came to the club the other day? They wouldn't let him in. Joey. I think Joey went to Joey went to Joey went to the team entrance, and they didn't let him in.
Really?
Roy Jones went to the team entrance. They didn't let him in. Let's just have that right.
Well,
yeah, they didn't let him in because he didn't have a ticket.
I mean, wow.
And that was when Ryan Reynolds was coming in and all them lot. Because his name wasn't on the list, he did not get in.
That should be the Joey Jones entrance.
It should be
the Joey Jones stand.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. It's like if I ring up, I don't expect a ticket or anything like that. But if I ring up and say, "Oh, could I maybe purchase a ticket or buy a ticket for a game?" He said, "Oh well, there's a waiting list." Oh, so no problem. I won't go then. Can't get one. Yeah. So I always contact a few of the lads who get ones anyway. So I do get one in the back alleys kind of thing, but I do get one. But
yeah, that's totally fair enough. And points well made. Time now for the quick fire round, Andy.
Yeah. So right, first thing that comes into your head. This is about your time at Wrexham, players, staff. Who was the most skillful?
God. Lee Trundle.
Yeah. I'll have that one. Who was the worst dressed?
Ooh, Phil Hardy.
Well, not had Phil before.
Phil Hardy. Plain Jane.
Right, who is the most underrated player who didn't really get the plaudits that they deserved? You can have Robin Gibson for this.
No. The plaudits. Gazza win. Gazza win.
Again. Yeah, another popular one. We always get the same answer for this as well, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who's the biggest moaner?
Fucking Dave Brammer. That's Ferguson.
All right. Oh, it was usually Ferguson. All right.
Dave
no,
Brammer,
okay.
Fergie.
Right.
Dave Brammer and Fergie. Massive. On equal keel.
We usually ask which player would you least like to fight, but I'm going to ask you which player would you most like to fight?
Most like to fight Brammer.
I knew that was coming.
I see. I'll scrap that one. Denis Smith.
He's an old man, Robin. Leave him alone.
Yeah, it's like a tag team, right? So it's Brammer and Smith in one corner, and it's you and presumably Phil Hardy in the other. You take him as your tag team.
Me then.
All day.
No, not a Gil.
All day. All day.
I know you say you go quite a lot. What do you think of the team at the moment?
To be fair, mate, I like it. To be fair, with Steve Fletcher now, mate, with obviously Mullins coming back from injury and all that lot. Mullins is obviously he scored one last week, and then he set up assisted at weekend. So he's coming back firing, but Fletcher's obviously a decent lad to have on the bench. You know what I mean? His experience and everything else. It's good to have in the squad that type of player. You know what I mean? There's a good core of them. I know we've got a lot of players and everything else, but there's a good core. There's a good interchangeable of lads. And yeah, I do like the look of them. But we're I think we're joint second at the minute, aren't we, with County?
Yeah.
Is it 30 points or 31? I can't remember what it is. I think it's 30 points. But if we get back-to-back promotions, it's going to be phenomenal. But I don't think the crop of players that we've got will hold their own in the next league above. We're going to need a couple of, obviously, really, really good players then. I mean, at the minute, I think the lads we've got, this is their level. You know what I mean? This league is their level. A couple of them could play a little bit higher, but not all of them. Like Mullins is sound and everything else, but he needs to step up into that next level. He needs to get into the Welsh squad. You know what I mean? Test his levels with them. So yeah, but I do like the look of them. Yeah, I do like the look of them. I do. Would
your 98, 99 side beat them?
I'll fucking fight them all. Yeah. No, we would have a good battle with them. Yeah, have a good battle. You know what I mean? But if we were all fit and firing, mate, I think it would be a decent game. To be fair, it would be a decent game. To be honest, yeah, it would be. Christ.
Should we do predictions, lads?
Yeah, let's do predictions before we head off. So we've got two cup games coming up, right?
Yeah, Mansfield and Port Vale. When's Port Vale? Is it Tuesday?
That's a week Tuesday, isn't it? So should we leave Port Vale? Let's just do Mansfield. It's a tough draw. Andy, you go first. You know what? I was really going to go to this game, but the 7:45 kickoff has killed it. I don't want to drive, and I can't get back on the train, so I'm just going to watch it on S4C. Mansfield. The only thing I'm thinking is we've got such a big squad. I think Mansfield will change a few. I think we'll change a few as well, but I think our replacements will be better than theirs. Right. I've got a feeling it might be a draw, and I think it might be a replay, which is the worst outcome. But is it?
Yeah. Well, no, you just don't want another game, do you? Come on.
I don't. People were saying this last season when we had the most ridiculous. A volume of games, and after the Sheffield game, everyone was devastated. Went to the replay as a worst case scenario. It didn't really affect us.
Yeah, but Mansfield aren't Sheffield United, isn't it? It's not going to be on telly or anything, is it?
But I do think sometimes it's quite nice to have a break, even if it's just mental break from the league, that you can kind of just park the league for every now and again. Anyway, what's your prediction?
One each,
right? Tim?
I think we'll lose which is unlike me to say that, but I think we'll make wholesale changes, and I just think we'll get edged out 2-1. As much as I love the FA Cup, lightning don't strike twice 2 years in a row, so I think we park that this year, focus on the league, full tilt, steam ahead, and crack on. And we've had enough injuries as it is recently; we can do without any more. So we'll give it to Robin to his final say.
To be honest, lads, I think obviously we go through patches where we either score 1 goal or bloody 6 goals. You know what I mean? We're up and down, aren't we, with the score? And I look at the fixture, the results sometimes, and it's like a 1-1 or a 5-0 or a bloody 3-3 or a 4-4 or 2-1. You know what I mean? There's loads of goals sometimes and minimum goals other times. I'm going to go balls deep. I'm going to go 3-2 win.
3-2. Wow.
Yes. Palmer will get 1. Mullins will get a penalty, and I'm not too sure the next one.
Fletcher off the bench. Surely.
There you go. Head of far post. Boom.
There we go. Class. Love that energy. And now because of that, I don't feel like I go with my original prediction. So I'm also going to go with a win. I'm going to say a 2-1 late winner. Fletcher off the bench, top corner off his bonds. And thank you everyone for listening. On that note,
Can I say one last thing regarding Ian Rush? We brought Ian Rush in the equation earlier on in the conversation. I've got one little story about him. When he first came to the club, fantastic player, fantastic bloke, in training, phenomenal, everything else. He came and we played a home game. Can't remember who it was against, but we're all warming up. I've come back in to get a bottle of water. I've come back out. Rushy is following me behind me. Joey shouts, "Rushy, you big nose twat." And I've gone like that, looked round thinking, what the fuck going on here? Because you're forgetting something, you daft git. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, these. He was running out in his bills, in his briefs, no shorts on, down the tunnel. He was going to run on the pitch with no shorts on. So yeah, that was a good thing. To be fair, Rushy had a cock on him, so he would have been all right.
And on that note, an even better note to
Greece. What a way to finish!
What a way to finish!
And if any door stewards at Wrexham Football Club, please Google Joey Jones's image, do an image search. Next time you see that man, let him pass. Do not question why he's there. You let him in.
Yeah. Robin, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. You've been a great guest. Thank you everyone for listening. As ever, you can tweet us. You can't email us because we've lost access to our accounts. We never checked it anyway.
No, we do have it. The best bits get forwarded on to us.
Do they? Okay.
Well, there's one fella who's got access to it, and he just has a look every now and again and forwards it on. I mean, it's a mess. We're
okay, so that is fidzine@gmail.com, or you can just tweet and DM at fearlessidZine. Thank you very much for listening, everyone, and see you next week.
Pleasure. Bye.